This address doesn't exist. I deliver to hundreds of houses every week. I've seen it all. Hoarders, creepy mannequins in yards, people answering the door half naked or with snakes wrapped around their necks. But this wasn't just weird. It felt wrong from the start. It was just after 7 p.m. and I had one last stop on my route, an express delivery marked high priority. Normally I wouldn't think twice, but something about the address gave me pause. No house number, just coordinates. That's not entirely unusual in remote areas. But this one was out there, tucked deep into a part of town where paved roads give up and GPS gets jittery. The kind of place where cell signal is more myth than feature. The map led me about 15 minutes past the last real neighborhood, then down a dirt path I wouldn't have noticed if the app hadn't flagged it. Branches clawed at the sides of my van. The sky had that in-dove day haze, a dull orange smeared with grays. I should have turned around the moment I saw the mailbox. It stood at the end of a narrow, grassy path, sticking out of the overgrowth like it had no business still being there. Rusted, leaning to one side, but with fresh black numbers painted sloppily across the side. Same digits from the app. No house in sight, just a field of waist-high grass, and beyond it, dense trees. I pulled over, engine still running. I got out, package in hand, and walked to the mailbox. That's when I noticed it wasn't empty. Inside was a stack of Polaroids. At first, I thought they were trash. Then I looked closer. The top photo was of me, loading my van that morning at the distribution center. No big deal. Maybe a prank. Someone got my picture off social media or something. But then I flipped to the next one. Me, again, delivering a box 3 hours ago. The same blue hoodie, same barcode scanner in my left hand. The one after that, me walking back to my van in the Target parking lot on my lunch break. None of these were selfies. None of them were posed, or taken from a distance. Slightly tilted angles, like someone had been following me. My fingers were trembling by the fifth one. In that photo, I was standing exactly where I was now, beside this mailbox. Except, I hadn't taken that picture yet. I dropped the photos. My breathing turned shallow. I turned in a slow circle, scanning the trees. No movement, but I could feel something. Not see it, feel it. That sensation of being watched, too familiar, too mistake. I stepped back toward my van, nearly tripping over the grass. The package was still in my hand, now damp with sweat. I opened the door and tossed the box onto the passenger seat. Get out, file a report later. When I looked back toward the field, just one last glance, I saw a shape. It was maybe 20 feet into the grass. A figure tall still, watching. I couldn't make out a face, just the outline of a person, too thin, like a shadow with joints. And I swear, it tilted its head. Not like a curious dog, like it was testing how far it could twist. I floored it, didn't look back, didn't stop until I hit pavement again and got 3 bars of signal. Called my manager, told him everything. He didn't laugh, didn't even sound surprised, just said, "We've had issues with that route before." Issues. That was all he gave me. I quit the next week. They offered me more money. Better routes. I didn't care. I didn't even ask what kind of issues they meant. But sometimes, late at night, I still think about those photos, especially that last one. I never took it, never stood still long enough for someone to. So who was holding the camera, and who's still out there, waiting for me to come back? The camera wasn't there this morning. I didn't notice it until it blinked. A tiny red light, pulsing like a heartbeat, on a camera I swear wasn't there when I left the van 10 minutes earlier. I've been doing Amazon deliveries for about a year. It's not glamorous, but it's predictable. Routes, routines, muscle memory. I know my van like the back of my hand. Every creak of the suspension, every stain on the dash, every weird dent in the side panel from that one time I clipped a shopping cart corral in the rain. So when I stepped back into the van after dropping a package at a farmhouse just outside town and saw a sleek, black camera mounted to the dashboard, I froze. It was one of those compact square ones, the kind you'd use for discreet surveillance. It was facing the driver's seat, recording. A tiny LED blinked slowly in the corner, like it was watching me breathe. At first I thought corporate must have installed it without telling me. Maybe some kind of fleet monitoring thing, but we already had a dash cam, and this wasn't it. The casing looked new, shiny, out of place. And then I noticed the wires. They ran from the back of the camera and snaked under the driver's seat, taped down, tucked cleanly into the floor mat like someone had taken their time with it. That's what made my stomach drop. I hadn't left the van unlocked. No one else had access. I looked around the lot. The house I'd just delivered to was a few hundred feet behind me. An old place with peeling shutters and a wind chime that had been clinking the whole time I was at the door. No sign of movement. No other vehicles. Just the sound of insects in the tall grass and the wind rustling the leaves. I reached for the camera. It didn't come off easily. It was firmly glued down. I tapped the casing, half expecting it to stop recording, but the red light just kept blinking. I pulled out my phone and called my supervisor. He didn't answer. I took a photo of the camera, then reached under the seat to trace the wires. That's when I felt something else taped to the underside. It was a small box, smooth, plastic, about the size of a wallet. It had no markings, just a single switch, already in the on position. I didn't flip it, I didn't touch anything else. I backed out of the van slowly like I was defusing a bomb. At that point, I was too unsettled to think clearly. I got out and walked a few yards down the gravel road, away from the van, trying to get a signal. My hands were shaking, and I kept glancing back over my shoulder like I expected someone to be there, watching, but no one came. And then I heard the click. It came from the van, a single, mechanical snap, like a shutter or a latch or a lock. I turned back and stared. The van door was still open. Nothing had moved, but I could see something flickering on the screen of the onboard tablet. I walked back, cautiously. On the tablet was a video feed of me. From earlier. From today. It showed me sitting in the driver's seat, singing to myself, sipping coffee, talking to my phone on speaker, timestamped from that morning. And then, a different clip, me asleep in the van during my lunch break. Eyes closed, mouth slightly open, except I don't remember falling asleep. I reached for the screen to pause it, but it wouldn't respond. Another clip started. This time, the camera angle had changed. It was positioned from the back of the van. I was driving, unaware. Behind me, just barely visible through the blur of motion, was a figure sitting in the cargo hold, partially hidden behind packages. Not moving, just watching. It wasn't one of my co-workers. It wasn't anyone I recognized. I closed the tablet and started the van without thinking. Slammed the door shut and drove. No route, no destination, just away. I didn't stop until I hit the highway. I parked at a rest stop, yanked the wires from the camera, and threw the whole thing into a trash bin. Later that night, when I finally calmed down enough to check my phone, I looked at the photo I'd taken earlier, the one of the camera, but it wasn't there. In the photos, the dashboard was empty. No device, no wires, just the same coffee cup I'd been drinking from, and something else, barely visible in the corner of the windshield reflection. A face, too close to the glass, looking in, and smiling. The lights turned red when I stepped on the porch. The porch light was a soft, welcoming yellow, until I stepped onto the doormat. Then it turned red, and the front door locked behind me, even though I'd never opened it. It was the last stop of the night, one of those late guaranteed by 9 p.m. deliveries, tucked into a quiet cul-de-sac I'd never been to before. The kind of neighborhood where every house looks like it's been copied and pasted, where the lawns are a little too neat and the mailboxes don't have names. The house was sleek, new build, all angles and glass, with a wide, flat porch and one of those smart doorbells that lights up when you get close. I had a small package in hand, nothing heavy, just a little box with someone's name and unit number. I was tired, my feet hurt. I just wanted to snap the delivery photo and go home. As I stepped up onto the porch, I felt a soft vibration beneath my boots. Pressure-sensitive mat, maybe, nothing unusual. Plenty of smart homes have them, but then the light above me, once a soft, golden glow, shifted. At first it flickered, then it flushed, red. It wasn't a motion sensor reacting to my presence. It felt intentional, like someone hit a switch. Then I heard the click, not from the door in front of me, behind me. I turned. The walkway I'd just crossed. The little gate at the front of the yard, closed. No breeze, no sound, just the quiet and the subtle hum of the red porch light. And when I reached to place the package down and snap the confirmation photo, my phone didn't work. The app froze, then crashed. The screen flickered once, and went black for half a second, just long enough for me to catch a glimpse of something reflected in the glass behind me. A shape, thin, tall, right at the edge of the glass door, inside the house. But when I turned, no one, just a long, empty hallway beyond the foyer, just to be sure. Maybe the homeowner had come to the door and stepped away. No answer. I pressed the doorbell. It didn't chime. It whispered, "I know that sounds ridiculous, but I swear, I didn't hear a ding or a buzz." just a breathy sound from the speaker, like someone exhaling right into my ear. I took a step back. The red light overhead buzzed, louder, like a mosquito getting too close. The glass of the door shimmered faintly, and for a split second, I saw it again. Movement. Something deeper in the house. I turned to leave. Enough was enough. But the gate wouldn't open. It was magnetic, I think, one of those locking security types. But there was no keypad, no switch. Just smooth steel humming gently. I stepped off the porch, back toward the lawn, only to realize I couldn't. The moment I left the mat, the red lights started strobing, flashing violently, like an alarm. And then the voice came, from the porch speaker, from inside the house, from everywhere. It wasn't a person, it was artificial, cold, returned to the position. The words made my skin crawl. I stepped back onto the mat, more out of panic than obedience. The red light stopped flashing, returned to its steady glow. Silence again. I didn't know what to do. My radio wasn't working. My van, just 100 feet away, felt miles off. I tried the phone again, dead, and then the door began to open, slowly, smoothly, like it was welcoming me. I didn't want to look, but I couldn't help it. The hallway was dark now. No lights, no smart home glow, but the air felt like it was spilling out, cold, almost damp, with the faintest smell of copper. Inside, barely lit by the last of the porch glow, something stepped forward, not walked, stepped. One motion, one limb, then another, too tall, too smooth. I turned and ran, vaulted the gate, don't ask me how. I just did. Scraped my knee opened, tore my pants, didn't care. I sprinted back to the van, jumped in, slammed the door, and peeled off. Didn't stop until I hit the next gas station with lights and noise and people. When I checked the delivery app to cancel the stop, it showed the packages already delivered, with a photo. I hadn't taken one, but there it was. A perfect image. Me, standing on the porch, looking back at the camera with my hand halfway raised, like I was about to knock, except I wasn't smiling, and the eyes in the photo, they weren't mine. I was delivering to my own grave. The woods were too quiet, and the GPS was glitching hard, but I followed it anyway, right up to a clearing with a single stone marker, carved with my name, my birthday, and tomorrow's date. It was a slow Thursday evening, and I was finishing up the tail end of my delivery route, mostly rural stops. Long driveways, no lights, lots of trees. I wasn't thrilled about it, but at least it meant less traffic. Around 8:40 p.m., the delivery app glitched. My next stop appeared suddenly. No customer name, no special instructions, just a pin dropped in the middle of some woods about 5 miles off my normal route. The address didn't even show up on Google Maps. Normally I'd report that and move on, but the app flagged it priority. Bright red label, time set. Something about the urgency and how far out it was didn't sit right with me, but curiosity won. I figured I'd check it out, and if it was a mistake, at least I could mark it undeliverable and head back. The road got worse as I drove. First asphalt, then gravel, then packed dirt barely wide enough for my van. The trees thickened on either side until they felt like walls, and the last of the sunlight filtered through in pale, dying streaks. After about 10 minutes of crawling deeper into the woods, the van's headlights caught something up ahead, a break in the trees. I slowed and pulled into a small clearing, silent, except for the low hum of my engine. No house, no trail markers, just grass, rocks, and something sticking up out of the ground near the center. At first I thought it was a decorative stone, but when I stepped out and walked closer, I realized it was a headstone. Simple, gray, clean, looked brand new, and on its surface, engraved in sharp, precise lettering, my name, my full name, middle initial, and all. And beneath it, my date of birth, and then the final line, died. Tomorrow's date. I stood there, frozen. I looked around, expecting cameras, people, something to explain the sick joke. But there was nothing, just my own breathing, loud in my ears. The stone wasn't chipped or aged. It had no dirt, no weathering. It had been placed there recently. The grass around it had been cleared. The soil was slightly disturbed, like something had been dug. That's when I noticed the package still in my hand, small, unmarked, no label, no weight to it. I hadn't even checked what I was supposedly delivering here. I tore it open. Inside was a single item, a laminated photo of me, standing right where I was now. Same shirt, same jacket, Same van in the background, but in the photo, the headstone was already behind me. And I wasn't facing the camera. I was lying down, eyes closed, mouth slightly open. In the dirt, I staggered back. I must have dropped the photo because I don't remember setting it down. My legs felt heavy, and my chest was tight. The shadows from the trees were stretching long, too long, like they were reaching toward me. I turned and ran back to the van, fumbling with the door handle, half expecting it not to open. But it did. I jumped in, started the engine, threw it in reverse, and nearly slammed into something. A figure, just standing at the edge of the clearing. I didn't see its face. It was tall, silhouetted, motionless, arms too long, head cocked just a little too far to one side. It didn't move. I drove around it, tires kicking up dirt and dust, heart pounding like it was trying to crack my ribs open. I didn't stop until I hit the highway. Didn't check my mirrors, didn't look back. When I got back to the depot, I filed a location error report on the app and left out the rest. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the photo, my body, the stone. The timestamp on the back read 7:03 p.m. tomorrow. And now, every time I check the delivery app, that same pin reappears. Same clearing, same red priority. I delete it, it comes back. Always marked. Attempted delivery. Incomplete. I haven't gone back. I won't. But tomorrow's date is getting closer. And part of me thinks, if I don't go there, someone's going to come find me anyway.